Thank you for joining me, Quentin. So today we're going to be going through a consultation. You've expressed that you have some interest in making some lifestyle changes, or perhaps you want to change something about your fitness, which is why we are here today. I hope that you have your pen and paper that I've asked you to bring.
Yes, I've got that here. Thank you, Neil. Thanks for talking to me.
You're welcome. So what I want to just put out there is you don't feel bad about or feel that you're speaking too much. This is my time to get to know you, because the more that I know about where you are or where you want to go, the better I'm going to be able to assist you and actually help you to get there.
Okay. Yeah, great.
The first thing I want to find out from you is, have you ever worked with a personal trainer before? Have you ever, or what other things have you maybe done to invest in your health to make sure that your fitness level is at a certain standard?
Yeah, I have worked with a personal trainer in a gym for a short while, but mostly I've just been kind of training on my own. I have done different things, but I'd say the majority of time has just been in the gym, working out on my own. I started off a few years doing like a video DVD program with exercises on it, and that kind of got me on the type of stuff that I wanted to do.
Okay. So when you did work with a personal trainer, what did you tell him that your goals were, and what kind of work were you doing with him?
Yeah, it was actually a lady that I worked with.
I did actually assume there, but I thought that you said him. So the personal trainer that you worked with, what were you guys doing together?
Yeah, it'd be hard to describe the program, because her program was sort of something that every day was something new, every day was something different. I think that was sort of what she was saying is different about what she was doing, is that you'd never get bored, because every day you get there is going to be, okay, now we're going to be doing this thing, and we're going to be standing on medicine balls, and now we're going to be, doing all sorts of different things, which was, kind of exciting. But it was in the gym, and different pieces of equipment every time.
Okay, so did you enjoy the variety? Is that something that you requested, or is that just something that she took initiative to do?
No, that was her initiative.
Okay, so there wasn't anything particular there was no theme really. You weren't really working with machines or dumbbells or the barbells or any particular equipment that you guys were using?
I'd say it's a mix between cardio stuff as well as some weight training as well.
Okay, and when you did do weight training, what kind of machines or what equipment were you working with?
Yeah, with the personal trainer, or when I do it on my own?
With the personal trainer, and then I'm going to ask you about your own as well.
Okay, with her, I think just thinking in terms of warming up was like on a bike or on a treadmill or something like that, and then with the rest of the equipment, it's some of it wasn't even equipment. A lot of it was just on the mat, sort of doing lunges or things like that. So those are sort of cardio type of stuff. And then with the weight training equipment, it was maybe, if I'm thinking about legs, it was leg extensions, leg curls. If with dumbbells, it was kind of shoulder presses, all of that type of stuff.
Okay, so mainly that sounds like with the gym machines that you guys kind of stuck to.
It's machines and dumbbells.
Machines and dumbbells. Okay, cool.
Loose weights. With that.
Excuse me?
Loose weights.
Yeah, so you did use some resistance equipment.
Yeah.
And you mentioned that you work out mainly by yourself, and you use a gym facility. What have you been doing? What has your program been revolving around in the last 6 months?
Okay, all right. It's just my own program, so please don't judge me. It's just kind of it's kind of a couple of things that I've learned from the DVD program to the personal trainer to kind of what I just like doing, and I do it over and over again, and I'm quite okay with that. So I've broken it into 3 days, and it's mainly weight training. So so the first day is, let's say, it's chest and back muscles, and then the second day would be legs and everything, legs, calves, glutes, all of that sort of stuff. And then the third day would be arms and shoulders.
Okay. Day 3 is arms and shoulders.
Yeah.
And then which kind of equipment are you using to work out your chest, back, your legs, like all of your legs and your arms and your shoulders?
So again, I think sometimes I kind of take a break where I'm not able to exercise or just don't get to exercising for a few months. So when I start, I use more machines, and then because I feel like I've got more control there. And then when the stronger I get, that's when I go to more loose weights.
Okay, yeah, the free weights.
Mm.
That's a really good way of doing things, and kind of the routine that you follow at the moment is what we call a split routine. So you're splitting up muscle groups, and it's a good way to make sure that you aren't maybe missing certain muscles, so that you don't create any sort of imbalances. And you've also been doing the correct thing in terms of, if you haven't been training for a while or exercising for a while, starting off with your machine weights takes the work from the muscle having to stabilize, which, if it's weak and you try to do a weight that you wouldn't be able to do, it's a lot safer to do it that way. It's also the biggest weakness of doing gym machines, because the machine is doing all the stability work for you. It's not actually helping make sure that the muscle is injury proof. So it can actually cause the muscle to be more prone to injury if you overuse things like the machines.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you've got the idea that you go from machine weights to free weights, which is really good.
But I must say, there's some limitation where I feel like I don't have an alternative to the machine. So then I stick with the machine kind of forever. If you do like the chest press and whatever, it's like, okay, I know I can go do a bench press, but I'm usually on my own, so I don't want to kill myself, so I just kind of stay with that. And to me, it is the reason why I'm okay with it is for me, it's already an achievement just to stay consistent and just pitch up every day. So if I have to think about it too hard and now I've got to go, should I do that one or should I do, then it sort of just slows me down,
Yeah, that does make sense. But you mentioned that you did some DVD series. It sounds like it's something that you've done for a while. Which DVD series did you follow?
Yeah, it was a program called P90X.
No, P90X.
Yeah, it's part of the Beachbody group, I think.
Very old school, but it's
very old school.
Some cool stuff. It was some very, very cool stuff.
Yeah.
And there's also some well-rounded exercises in there. So how long did you do P90X for?
I'd say that I probably did on and off for about 2 years.
Okay. And do you still follow it now, or is it something that's
actually so since the third wave that we're not able to go back in, I've stopped going to gym now for a few weeks, maybe going on a month or so, and I'm training at home again at the moment, and so that there I kind of fall back on some of the, I didn't go back and watch the DVDs again, but I kind of try to recall stuff I did. So I just try and make up some stuff at home.
Okay. And the split routine, the way that you are breaking things up, did you learn that system from watching the P90X videos?
Broadly speaking, yeah. I didn't stick exactly to the program that he had, but that's where I got the idea from. Yeah.
Okay. And you mentioned that you don't want to put. Well, let me say it this way. It sounds like consistency is one of your challenges. Is that correct from what you've just told me?
Yes, absolutely.
And in the last 6 months, how consistent would you say that you've been? I know that there's been some spanner in the works where you say haven't been going to the gym.
Yeah.
How many times a week have you been going for to the gym in the last 6 months?
Yeah, I think again when I've got momentum, I managed to probably go 4 or 5 times a week. That probably in the beginning part of the year for about 4 or 5 months, I managed to keep that up. But now with the thing broken, my routine and doing stuff at home, I may be down to 2 or 3 times a week that I do it.
Okay, but only the last couple of weeks it's been 2 to 3 times.
Correct. Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you've got some great consistency for the beginning of the year, going 4 to 5 times a week. That's really great. When you are going 4 to 5 times a week, you mentioned the 3-day split that you do. What are you doing on those 2 other days that you, when you are going 5 times?
So I've been told many times that I should have a sort of a cardio or a stretch day in between, but I just haven't done that. So all I do is I just start day 1 again. So I just keep rotating 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Chest and back, all around legs, arms and shoulders. Repeat. Okay.
Exactly, because there's enough. There's usually, like I say, 4 or 5 times. So there's 1 or 2 days in the week that you don't go, which I feel like is enough of a break so it means probably 4 days before you get back to the same muscle group.
Okay, no, that makes sense. It doesn't sound like you're overloading or doing too much. It just sounds like it's maybe a bit monotonous, and there may need to be some more cardio exercises thrown in there just to balance everything out. Cardio exercises are good for cardiovascular health. It's just there's lots of benefits to doing it. What would you say is your biggest challenge? Would it be the consistency, or is there something else that you battle with?
No, I think what probably something I often think about is that, yes, I feel like I'm achieving something by being consistent, but something I'm missing out on is maybe visible great results, so I probably, even though, let's say that 3 or 4 months that I was going consistently, I couldn't say that I was like, wow, look at me now, before and after pictures. It's just kind of just maybe here and there I could see, okay, my arms look a little bit firmer, my shoulders look a little bit, I don't know, so, but then I wonder, no, maybe it's just, I'm fooling myself. So it wasn't like, wow, look at the difference.
Okay. So what is it that you would want to achieve? You said, you mentioned that, or maybe you want to be seen some sort of different. What is that? What would you like to achieve out of the process?
Yeah. So I'm not getting any younger. So maybe don't want to tell you my age right now, or have you got it on the form there already?
Yeah, I already have it on the form, but it's not actually something I consider before I go into a consultation.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, I suppose I am 55 years old this year, so I have thought of, that I'm starting to see, for instance, around the belly, it's harder to keep that in check. Even though, while I'm saying that, I'm thinking, well, I'm not even doing any sort of ab exercises specifically. So yeah, I suppose it's that, and I think it's just obviously toning to me is more important. But then sometimes I think if you can build a little bit, which is harder for me at my age, then it can also look overall, you look more toned if you have a bit more around the shoulders, if you have a bit more around the biceps or something like that.
Yeah, so it is true, but what I like to remind my older clients, especially when I was working with clients on a cruise ship, that aging is not a disease. It does contribute to things like muscle growth, but or contributes to it being harder to have certain things like muscle growth. But it's got to do with the endocrine system, and the endocrine system basically reacts to what the conditions that you put it under. So if you're doing the right form of resistance training, you're actually stimulating that system to release the kind of hormones that will enable you to help build muscle, maintain muscle, and also get that toned look. So it's also got a lot to do with, it's not just consistency, it's having the right kinds of exercises. And that's something that I'm going to be able to help you with, and direct your attention that when you are going to the gym, even if you can only get there 2 to 3 times a week, or when you are going 5 to 6 or 4 to 5 times a week, that you're going to be maximizing the time that you have there on the right kinds of exercises that are going to be able to help you with belly fat, with kind of toning, and also building that muscle that you're also looking to build.
Yeah. And to add to the appearance one, I've got skinny legs, and no matter what I do, they stay skinny.
Yeah, skinny legs. So you mentioned the abdominal area. So there's belly fat that you seem to be struggling to get rid of.
Yep.
So that actually isn't toned, or you don't get rid of that by doing ab exercises. But I'm definitely going to be able to share with you the best way to reduce things like belly fat. So it's legs that you would like to build on. And is there any other areas in your body that you're concerned about, or not concerned about, that you would like to see some improvement in?
Yeah, no, I think those are the specific areas. Like I said, the rest would just be toning.
Okay, so the belly fat is the big pain point, and your legs that you'd like to build muscle on.
Yeah.
So flat belly, build legs.
Yeah, that would be nice.
If we were to sum it up, and obviously I've got down everything here that you don't feel like you're doing enough ab exercises, you'd like to do toning and building a bit, and you say that you're not feeling any younger.
No, feeling wise, no, I didn't sort of specific. Yeah, I suppose general energy would be good, but again, I feel like when I'm consistently working out, I feel more. I don't get injuries, or I don't feel sore muscles or anything like that. But I can't say that energy wise I improve. When I work out.
Yeah, but you don't feel that you have low energy or anything like that?
No, not in particular, no.
Okay. So is there any specific, when you say you're losing want to lose something like belly fat, is your pant size maybe increased, or is there anything specific that we can use as like a target or a goal, like a pant size, or maybe an amount of weight, or what has changed since you say that it's been harder for you to kind of keep the belly in check, I think is what you said.
Yeah. It's like a measurement more than anything else. Pant size, I haven't really changed a hell of a lot. I suppose it's a bigger pant size to when I was 20 years old, but but now, but it's probably been pretty much the same for the last 20 years, if that. Okay. No, yeah. So about that, but to me, yeah, it's just kind of appears more kind of, what's the word, loose. It's not as firm as I'd like it to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
When you mentioned a measurement, though, what were you referring to?
Yeah, so say putting a measurement band around the belly or whatever.
Like measurement.
Yeah, I haven't done that, but that's what it's looking like to me, that could be bigger. I also haven't had major fluctuation in weight overall, but then I also understand that, if I'm going to be building a bit of muscle, that it's probably going to sort of balance out the weight, the fat that I'm losing, and therefore my weight is not going up or down much.
Okay, that's good to know that you're not losing a bunch of weight, or your weight doesn't go down and up. That can be a very, very good sign. it sounds to me like there's normally two different kinds of people. There's more like a feeling and a look person, and then there's a numbers person. It sounds like you're more a numbers person by mentioning measurement.
Okay.
If we were or when we work together, we are going to be using ways to measure your progress. Would you be more of a photo, like side-by-side guy, or would you be more of a using a measuring tape and measuring your progress that way?
That's an interesting one. I'd like to see the numbers, because that would be that it's for real. But yeah, I wouldn't mind a visual improvement as well. And being able to look at two pictures and clearly seeing the difference between the two would be very motivating.
Okay. Well, the ones that I'm going to obviously make sure that you do at certain intervals is the girth measurements. It's a very easy thing to do, so long as you make sure that you measure in the same spot each time, but all you need is a measuring tape. So it's a very cost-effective way of adding another thing that we can compare from each specific amount of time, that depending on what your goals are. But we're going to be doing progress photos with girth measurements, basically, in a nutshell.
Okay, sounds good.
Have you ever followed an eating plan before?
Yeah, I suppose like I said, weight has never been a big issue in my life, but maybe a few years back, I did start doing the Banting diet for a while, and I was quite happy with that. But again, it wasn't big fluctuations in weight. I just sort of kept the same weight, but I did feel like it helped a little bit in the short term. But it wasn't sort of I wasn't fanatical about it, or could you say consistent enough with the diet to say that whether the diet worked or it didn't. So I kind of still believe in the broader concepts of it, but I'm definitely not, sort of cutting out all carbs and, things like that.
You don't want to go back to some extreme version. Like, in my opinion, it is extreme to cut out. There's only 3 macronutrients. If you cut one of those out completely and you demonize it, just in my opinion, that's not a very balanced way of looking at things.
Okay.
So you're saying you wouldn't like to do something like that again? But would you be open to trying something that's a little bit more set in stone, like an eating plan, and then with the possibility of moving into something that's more intuitive?
Yes, yeah, that would be amazing.
Okay. All right, so we've kind of touched on what you would like to achieve in terms of kind of getting your belly fat under wraps. But the underlying thing is that you're not seeing those results. Now, this is what me as a personal trainer specializes in. I'm going to be able to tell you the things that are most important, and also give you the most important guidelines in order to make sure that there's a shift. So that's not only I'm not so sure if things are actually moving or if they actually are. So in order to do that, we are going to be having to do some sort of a measuring process. So for us, that's going to be progress photos and the girth measurements, just like I've mentioned before. But the best thing for us to do is to set a deadline and to say, okay, I want to achieve this by that a certain amount of time. So it could be a certain measurement on the girth measurement. Obviously, we need to know what the starting measurement. Let's say it's 40 centimeters now, and you want to go down to 35. The best is to kind of set a timeline as to when you want that to happen. Generally, if I can give you some guidelines, generally it takes at least 3 months of following something consistently in order for the body to start to shift and for you to see quite good measurable results. Is a 3 months timeline something that you would be able to commit to?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So if we were to be starting now in July, in 3 months' time, what my goal for you would be, or from my side, I'm going to be making sure that you're doing the right kinds of exercises, that you're building muscle in your legs. So building muscles in your legs is also going to help your metabolism. And as your metabolism starts to increase, it's going to be easier to get your belly fat in kind of check, as you've said that before. So I'm going to be able to build a resistance training plan that also complements a cardiovascular plan, so that you get in that well-rounded the health benefits as well as the strength benefits, and also kind of bulletproofing joints and things like that to help make sure that you don't get any injuries or aches and pains. And this is also going to help a lot with your general energy levels. You might find that they are actually lower than what you realize, and there should be an increase in energy, especially if we do an eating plan together, which is what I would highly recommend doing if we're going to see a dramatic change in the next 90 days.
Okay.
Yeah. So what would you be able to commit to in terms of how many times per week? You've already mentioned that for the last 6 months, you were doing 4 to 5 sessions. Would you be able to still continue to commit to that going forward, even if, let's say, the gyms don't open?
Yes. Yeah, I'd like to get back to that sort of thing, 4 or 5 times. Hopefully more 5 than 4.
Okay, that's a great number for me to work with. I say the minimum amount that you should be aiming for. So say worst case scenario, your week goes completely differently to what you expected. You should at least be getting 3 sessions in a week. I think that's realistic for anyone, even with the most stringent schedules. Even if you don't do the entire session, if you get 3 sessions in 3 sessions in of 30 minutes of good solid work, and like I said, I'm going to be giving you the most important exercises to do. This you still will, like, it's not going to derail the entire process.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to build a session for a week for you. That's going to be 5 times per week, with a combination of resistance training as well as some more cardiovascular training, because it seems like that has been lacking on your side, and being able to build that endurance is important just for overall results, and also just to make sure that the body is as balanced as possible.
Okay.
So which days in the week, which 5 days in the week would you be able to commit to doing an exercise plan? And would you be able, how long would your sessions be able to be? Would you be able to just fit in a quick 30-minute session, or would you be able to commit to a 45 to an hour workout?
Yeah, I've been doing the 30-minute sessions per day. So that to me is comfortable. But I suppose if I have a program, I could do 45. In terms of which days, probably Saturday, Sundays I like to do, because I feel like they're free days and there's less, you don't have to work as much on those days. And then three of the any of the 3 days in the week, so whether that be Monday, Wednesday or Friday, but it always changes depending on how busy I am with work and things like that.
Okay, I would really challenge you to check out your schedule and look for a pattern. Even if you don't have a set schedule, look for a pattern of which days you normally have more free time. You can just go back in your diary and check which days you're generally more open at. But for now, I'm going to schedule your sessions in on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then a Saturday and a Sunday. Okay.
Yeah.
And when is the best time for you to work out? Are you a morning person, or are you a midday person, or are you an afternoon person?
Mornings, definitely.
Do you do this before work, before you eat breakfast? What are we talking about here? Like early morning sessions, or
when I was going to gym, I try to get there early, get it done, and start my day. Although, at home, I maybe start a bit of work, do a couple of things, and then maybe do it at 9 or 10 o'clock. But it's not very sort of my usual routine now that I'm at home most of the time.
So let me just see if I understand you correctly. When you are working out at home, you do a little bit of work, and then you do a gym between 9 and 10 a.m.
Yeah.
And when gyms are open, does that change? Does the time change, or
Yeah,
does
well,
the schedule change in terms of, yeah?
no, but to be honest, I'd probably want to keep that routine as well, because again, with a unique situation we're in, I don't like to go when it's very full, the gym, because of the COVID situation.
Okay, but what times would you go when you are going, when the gyms are open and say COVID wasn't a factor?
Oh, if COVID wasn't a factor, I'll probably go at 9.
Okay, so it sounds like between 9 and 10 a.m. Or a session from 9 to 10, or from 10 to 11. Is that the timelines that you'd be doing on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or is that Saturday and Sunday as well?
I'd keep it the same.
Okay, so that would be a great way to build a habit and to make sure that you don't battle with the consistency that you said that you have battled with before. If those are non-negotiable times, because your health is the most important thing should be the most important thing in your day, no matter what age that you are. Some people think, I should move that around because I may have a meeting that's important, but it's actually counterintuitive. The more you exercise, the better your concentration levels are, and you'll find that you're actually going to be more purposeful when you actually are working.
Yeah.
So what I would suggest to you is, in your calendar, before things kind of get blocked up, just like you would if you scheduled your normal meetings, block off 9 to 10 o'clock to make sure that you have enough time for the exercise, because we are going to be doing 30 to 45-minute sessions. And that also gives you 15 to 20 minutes to take a quick shower, change, and then kind of get back to work.
Okay.
So
I'll have to check with my business partner, because he can be quite difficult in terms of scheduling times.
Well, he doesn't sound like a particularly nice guy, but I think you should just be stern with him. You don't even have to tell him what it is. Just say you've got a non-negotiable meeting between 9 and 10 o'clock, and you really need to stick to that.
I will try my best.
Okay, perfect. So what we have down here at the moment, and just tell me if I've missed anything. You're saying the biggest thing that you've been struggling with, the thing that I'm going to be here to help you with, is to actually see and feel those noticeable results. It sounds like that's been lacking, and that can really play on your motivation levels. So I'm going to be making sure that when we are spending time exercising, that you're going to be doing the most important things that are going to achieve these goals. Losing the belly fat. We are going to add exercises, but I'll explain to you as we go through the process that doesn't actually get rid of belly fat. There's no such thing as really spot training in terms of reduction, but you can do spot training in terms of making muscles bigger, which is the good news about your legs. So we're going to be doing certain building exercises that are also going to be stimulating the endocrine system, which releases the hormones like your testosterone and your growth hormone and all of that stuff. And that's going to help build the muscles in those areas. And at the same time, the magic thing about wanting to build muscle is that the amount of muscle that you have is directly proportional to how fast your metabolism runs. If your metabolism is running and processing faster and correctly, that belly fat is going to start melting away. Okay. So those are the big points that I'm actually going to be helping with. I think that you're generally going to be having increase in energy, which is fantastic. And the way that we're going to be doing this, how we're going to measure things, is I'm going to take you through a fitness test. If we do decide to work together, that is going to just measure 3 simple movements. You don't have to be an athlete to be able to do these movements. It's body weight movements, and you go at your own pace. It's a test of how many body weight squats that you can do in 1 minute, how many sit-ups that you can do in 1 minute, and how many push-ups you can do in 1 minute. Okay. Especially with the push-ups, it doesn't mean that you're going to be doing push-ups for 1 minute. There's not many people that I know that can actually do push-ups for an entire minute. It's at your own pace. So even if you can't get a push-up from your toes, we can do an easier exercise, and we can do a push-up from your knees. If you're battling with a push-up from your knees, we can do a wall push-up. There's literally a movement that you're going to be able to feel comfortable with, that we can use as a point of reference to say, okay, if things are not maybe moving as quickly with the girth measurements as much as we want, is there at least a response from the body in terms of how it's performing? And this fitness thing isn't it's not a linear process. But if obviously nothing is shifting, then these are the telltale signs that are going to be telling me that I need to change something with you. Okay. So it's the physical testing, the test that I just described to now, and then we're also going to be doing fitness testing.
Okay.
All right. So the physical testing is the progress photos and the growth measurements. If at your gym, or if you know somewhere where you can get like a body analysis done, that gives you more numbers. If you like numbers, it'll tell you things like how much muscle you have, how much body fat you have, which are very important things. And it's not so much important to me how much you weigh, because as you pointed out, and as you know, the amount of that you weigh can also be how much muscle that you're building. So those are the ways that we're going to be able to measure it. And then our first deadline together is going to be 90 days. It's going to be 3 months from now.
Okay.
Does that sound like something that you commit to? Is there anything that I haven't, that you haven't shared with me that, just in terms of your goal setting, that I need to know about, or is there anything that has come up that you want me to focus on besides building the areas that you told me and losing in the stomach area?
Yeah. No, I think that's pretty much it. It'll be amazing if we can achieve the kind of results that you're talking about. I'm maybe a little bit skeptical whether I can still do it, because I still feel like my age will play a factor.
It does play a factor, but again, it's not a disability. I've got results with clients no matter what their age is, because if you're doing the right kinds of exercises and you're doing them consistently, the body does respond. The body is incredibly good at adapting to the circumstances that you put it under. And if you put it under the right circumstances or the right conditions, that's when the things are going to happen that you actually want to happen. But that's where I come in. As a professional, I'm going to be able to tell you exactly what you need to be doing in order to build the legs, to lose the belly fat, and to also just get that general tone in, and also make sure that your health is in good check as well by doing the cardiovascular exercise as well.
Okay, amazing. Yeah, it sounds very good.
That's great. There's just one other area that I need to speak to you about before I can safely go off and build your plan. Are there any injuries that you've ever had, or something that you still currently? Let's start off with: have you ever had any problems with injuries in the past? I wouldn't say major injuries, but areas where I have struggled maybe from time to time is maybe back, hurting my back a little bit, and my back not being as strong, and sometimes, and it hasn't happened recently, but at some point where my back gets out of joint for a few weeks or things like that, or just strained. And then maybe my knees, But as I said, not major injuries right now. Is it more of like a niggle and a pain, or is there an actual injury that, is there a certain time that there's been like a tweak onto your back that you haven't been able to maybe do certain movements or been able to walk, or how severe has the problem been?
Yeah, no, I would say not severe, but at the time, obviously, and as I said, this was quite a few years ago, and maybe the little bit of training that I've been doing has been helping that, but I wouldn't call it, so at the time, maybe it would not allow me to train, but I could still sort of function in normal life.
Have you been able to link it to anything that you've been doing in the gym? Is there any specific movement that might trigger it, or is it just at random, as far as you know, sometimes being a problem and sometimes not being a problem?
Yeah. I couldn't sort of link it to training, but it's maybe, sort of, as I say, maybe in times where I haven't been training, sitting on the couch for too long and then getting up and trying to lift a big box or something like that. That's probably how I hurt myself most.
Okay, so not being warmed up and then performing certain chores or something like that. That's where the problem's been in. Okay, but there's no specific movements that I need to like take note of that maybe you also mentioned your knees, that your knees or your back hurts.
Yeah. I generally sort of shy away from when as soon as I feel my back pulling, then I kind of back off on that. But yeah, it's not a big hindrance.
Okay, so there's no specific like actual injury that you've had though, like you've had to go for rehabilitation or something that's been chronic, meaning something that's been recurring for a long period of time.
No, luckily not.
Okay, that's good to hear. And you haven't had any surgeries that are maybe on muscle or joint related?
No.
Okay, and are there any prescription medications that you're taking at the moment?
No, not prescription. No, I do have a little bit of a problem with the headaches that I get from time to time, say once every 2 weeks, which is kind of contributing to my training schedule. So those are my days off in between the training program.
Well, they fit perfectly in our training program right now. There's 7 days in a week. You're in 2 days of those that are headaches.
Yes.
There's the time you can work out, so I don't see a problem.
Sounds fantastic. So I could actually schedule my headaches. That's amazing.
I didn't say we could do that, but I mean, you can still fit in your exercise plan the other 5 days of the week. Okay, so no chronic medications that you're taking for any like metabolic disorders, no heart conditions, you're not on blood thinners or anything like that?
No, thank God.
Perfect. And no surgeries and no actual like big injuries that you've had?
No.
Just the low, well, I'm guessing it's the lower back. Normally when people tell me it's the back, is it the lower back that you've had problems with?
Yes.
Okay, so that's probably a core weakness as well. So when I was at school, I was doing competitive long jump in athletics, and I overextended my back just from jumping, and I actually couldn't walk for a week.
Sure.
And since then, I started doing weight training, and nothing specifically lower back exercises, but I strengthened my core in general. And I did very compound movements, which basically means I've got my muscles to coordinate and work together. So using certain techniques and also certain types of exercises. And I haven't had a problem with my back since then, since I started doing resistance training. So it is something that you can, like I've said before, the word bulletproof, your all the muscles around your spine, which help with the lower back. So it's a combination. It's not just abdominal exercises or lower back exercises, it's a combination, but there's exercises that I'm going to give you that it's going to help for both of those things.
Yeah, I think you're spot on in terms of core, because it's not something I've focused on or trained much in the past.
Okay, that's definitely going to be one of the focuses of your program. So I've got a lot of information now about what you need, but the biggest question that I would like to ask you while we're sitting and talking is what do you want? What do you enjoy? Is there any form of movement or form of exercise that you've enjoyed in the past, whether we can go as far back as school days? Is there a sport that you enjoy doing or a type of movement that you enjoy doing? Tell me if you found any things that you really enjoy in terms of movement.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you're trying to probe into my personal life or, find out things like what I enjoy. But in terms of sport, I can tell you that I'm just joking, Neil.
You can tell me about both.
I do. I did tennis at school, which just reminded me of some, kind of back pains that you get playing tennis and trying to overextend serving and things like that. But
I was writing serve down before you even said serve.
Exactly. So that would be something I enjoyed doing. Although I'm not at the moment, I'm not playing. I'm not at a club, or I'm not playing. Not even at a court. With the lockdown again, I found a wall next to the house that I'm standing, literally hitting against the wall. In fact, I use it as my warm-up exercise before I train. I stand and I go hit against the wall for 10 minutes. And then when
a racket and balls, obviously.
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
And then once I've warmed up, then I'd kind of do my sit-ups or my push-ups or my pull-downs or all those sort of things.
Okay. And besides the tennis that you played at school, so you haven't played tennis since then, right?
Not competitively, no. I sort of played socially, yeah, here and there, over the last many years in school. From time to time, was at a club for a little while and then stopped that. But I haven't done that for many years, 10 years, call it that.
Okay. Is that something that you would like to get back into?
To actually play would be nice, but I just kind of feel time-wise, I don't always have the time.
Okay. Well, I think that's maybe something that you can keep in the back of your mind. If you would like to take it up again, it could definitely replace a cardio day instead of doing something monotonous like being on the bike or the treadmill or something like that. And I could also prepare your body for it. So I could make sure that your ankles, knees, and hips are used to kind of changing direction and moving around by facilitating certain exercises. So if you would like to bring that back in, I would suggest it because it's something that you enjoy and it's social. You can tell me that you do want to get back into it, and then I can facilitate that by putting in certain exercises that are going to ready your joints. So it's not just the ankles, knees, and hips. It's also, obviously, a lot of people get tennis elbow. So it's the shoulder, the elbows, and also the wrists. I can pretty much get ready for agility type movements, which is what tennis is. It's a very agility based game. And also because you'll be shifting from left to right. It's a different movement to gym movements. If I give you general squats and lunges to do, and we're all working in the sagittal plane, which is kind of back and forth. And then all of a sudden you just go off by yourself and start playing tennis. And now you're shifting from side to side. As you know, you have to face your opponent all the time. Then there's a high chance of injury. So I would suggest getting back into it because it's something you enjoy. And if you do, let me know and I can facilitate you getting to do that so that you don't get any niggles, aches, and pains or anything like that.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
So tennis, I'm going to keep maybe asking you about every couple of weeks just to check in with you and see if you've maybe found some time in your schedule for it. Okay. Is there anything else that you enjoy? Hiking, water sports, gardening, all of these things are really good forms of exercise.
Yeah. And not a hell of a lot. I suppose, I do have a garden, so I sort of potter around, and I can't say to any major amount of time, but so on a weekend when I do have somebody to help me, I sort of get busy around the garden.
Okay. Well, gardening is actually a very great form of body weight exercising because you're going to be in squatting movements for long periods of time, etc., etc. I'm a very big fan of that because my style of training, which you might already know, but maybe you don't, is functional movements, which basically means that you mimic everyday movements and get stronger at them using different forms of equipment and things like that.
Okay,
but from what you've told me, it sounds like we've got the gym to work with when you feel that you're able to get back there. What exercise equipment do you have available to you when we are doing exercises at home?
Yeah, I did invest in a few pieces of equipment when I did the P90X program. So I do have some dumbbells here, a couple of sets or whatever you call it. And I've got a pull-down bar, the one that you hook into the frame of the door. That's pretty much it. And the push-up little stands that you got, that you put on the
the handles. I know what you're talking about.
And then there's a couple of yoga mats lying around.
Yeah, mats are really important for doing body weight training. I'm glad that you have that. So you don't have to go into details now, but when you do upload on the app, if you can just send me a photo as a message, or you can do it on WhatsApp, whatever's best for you. Just a photo of your dumbbells and make sure that the amount of weight that they are is clear to see. If it's not listed on there, then just write in just take a note there and just let me know how much weight it is that I have to work with when we are just doing home sessions.
Okay, it's easy. It's 1 kilogram, 2 kilogram, and 5. No, I'm joking.
I mean, you can tell me now, but
No, I was just being funny about the weights.
It's much easier if you just obviously send me a photo of it,
Yeah.
and then I can see. But we're going to be able to use the pull-up bar and the dumbbells, and then obviously the push-up stands we can also use as well. But I'm going to get a good idea as to what your overall kind of body strength is when we do the fitness testing, the squats, the push-ups, and the sit-ups test.
Okay.
Okay, so is there any gym movements that you enjoy? Is there anything that you particularly like doing, or do you have no preferences?
Things, you mean when I do go to gym, what I like, the type of things I like doing? Yeah, it's probably where I defaulted at in the end. I'm doing all the ones that I like.
Which are?
Okay, let me think about sort of legs. I actually I hated it in the beginning, but then I started getting comfortable with the leg press. Even, you know, so I was doing the leg press, which is horizontal, and then I actually, like I said, avoided it for a long time. But that's so we sort of upside down, or you're lying on your back and you.
The 45-degree one, yeah.
Correct, yeah. So I eventually became quite comfortable with, which is ironic because I don't have too many leg muscles to press, but you know, just the movement. I enjoy the movement, yeah, I suppose in the upper body, I enjoy the chest ones where you kind of do the push away and the closing of the arms and all of those sort of things. I like those. And
my exercises.
Yeah.
You get to closing and pushing yourself to pushing the weights together. This is what we call a fly movement.
Oh, okay. Yes, correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And actually, well, at home, even though I see it as a big challenge, is pull-ups, using the pull-up bar. I always kind of start off just kind of seeing what is the maximum I can do, you know, when I'm still fresh. I kind of has that as a target for myself.
There's some tips and tricks that I can facilitate with the pull-ups. So let's say you can only do a couple of pull-ups. There's actually a fantastic way of strengthening your back without you actually doing the pull-up. So getting like a stair and standing on the stair and almost when you're in the full up the top part position, and actually just doing static holds, as well in conjunction with doing negative pull-ups. So you stand up and you in the full pull-up position, and then you lower yourself down very slowly. It is a fantastic way to strengthen, and it also will facilitate you being able to do the right amount of repetition, so that you're in the right zone to get to the results that you want to achieve.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Don't worry about that. I'll be helping you with all of those things. Okay, Quentin, I've got all the information that I need. We know what we'd like to achieve. We've got a date on when we'd like to achieve it. And now I just want the only thing that you need to do is trust me, and trust in the process, and then show up to the sessions that you've committed yourself to. And I promise that you're going to be seeing some fantastic results and in a much shorter amount of time, because we're going to actually be utilizing the time that you are exercising to the fullest.
Okay, fantastic. I'm looking forward to it. Sounds really awesome.
Perfect. So it is Wednesday, so I'm going to be taking some time today and tomorrow to build up your plan. So from Friday is your first session that's going to show up in the app. And then we're going to take you through a week trial, like has been described to you. And then after a week, I'm going to check in with you again with another call so that you can tell me about how the process went. But you'll see as we move through the week, after each exercise that you do, all I want you to do is rate it on a scale of 1 to 10 for me. 10 being it was ridiculously hard. What were you thinking, Neil? To 1 being that was so easy, I didn't even feel any difference. And then you can also drop a comment on there if you struggled with anything in particular, like I couldn't do 50 pull-ups, Neil, what were you thinking? So you can obviously drop a little comment in there as well, but otherwise just throughout the week, or we're not going to be speaking in person, but when you do complete a workout, rate the RPE from 1 to 10. And then if there's anything in particular that you either enjoyed in the session or you didn't like, or just a comment that you want to tell me about something that you struggled with, then just add that as a comment as soon as you finish the workout. And then that's going to be able to let me know what I should change and how we can move forward well together.
Well, that sounds amazing. Thank you. I'm excited.
Excellent. So that's all I need to know from my side. I will be seeing you virtually. You'll be getting your first training session on Friday.
Great. Thank you very much, Neil.
You're welcome. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Cheers.